Salamun alaikum and welcome back to QGTV. Today we're on day 22 of Ramadan 2011 chapter studies and chapter overviews. Today we'll be doing chapter 43, Az-Zukhruf, and chapter 44, Al-Dukhan. And let's begin. So the first thing to note is that these chapters are part of the Ha-Mim series. So we have chapter 40 till 46. All of them starts with Ha-Mim. Chapter 42 is outstanding in the sense that its second line is Ain Sin Qaf. That obviously contributes to its meaning, which we won't get into now. Now, as for chapter 43 and 44, it starts with they both start, with Ha-Mim wal Kitab al-Mubin, by the book which makes things clear, or by the clear book. What does this refer to? Well, if the Quran calls itself ayatun bayyinat, that's in chapter 10 verse 15, so something which is bayyinat makes mubin. So by the clear book is really by God's teachings made clear in the Quran. The third verse in Az-Zukhruf chapter 43 says, Inna ja'alnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun. Verily we have made it a faultless recitation, a faultless Quran, that you may think. So the faultlessness of the Quran's language is in order for us to think systematically. You can only think systematically if things are following a certain set pattern. If not, you can't think systematically. That's the first rule of logic. So this is it. The Quran's language is so we can think systematically. Next it says, وَإِنَّهُ فِي أُمِّ الْكِتَابِ لَدَيْنَا لَعَلِيٌّ حَكِيمٌ. Verily it is in the mother of the book. So the Quran, the recitation, the Quran and Arabian, the faultless language, is in what gives birth to God's teachings. So by learning the Quran, by understanding the Quran, we can actually assist in this process of bringing about God's system. Then it says, أَفَنَضْرِبْ أَنْكُمْ الذِّكْرَ. So the Quran is identified again as dhikr. So it says, shall we take away the dhikr from you and repel you? So the Quran is always there. It is always present. It is being recited in the language in which it came down. This chapter also mentions the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, 7 times. Again, this is extraordinary compared to other chapters. Well, we know that chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 25 also mentions Ar-Rahman quite a few times. This chapter follows suit as well. That's in the early part of this chapter from verse 17 onwards, which talks about likening creation to Ar-Rahman. And it says, had it been the people who reject, they say, if it had not been for the will of Ar-Rahman, we would not have worshipped these creations or these deities. So again, Allah's response to this is to say, or have we given them a book from before this which they are holding fast? So really there is no book which is more primordial than the Quran itself. From verse 26 onwards, the story of Ibrahim is mentioned, and Ibrahim's conversation with his father again. How do we relate this back to the opening theme, which talks about Al-Kitab al-Mubin? Well, here perhaps we can see that the Kitab al-Mubin, the clear book, God's system, is being put against the system of Ibrahim and his father. And I think that is the way to understand the Quran. How the Quran acts as an opposition system to the system of oppression. verse 31, it says, وَقَالُوا, and they say, لَوْلَا نُزِّلَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِنَ الْقَرْيَتَيْنِ عَظِيمٍ. Why is this Quran not sent to an independent person or a leading person in one of the two major systems? Here it's talking about the Quran as a tool, a rhetorical tool. It should have been sent to people of the two systems. What are these two systems? Well, here we can see that the previous passage deals with Ibrahim and his father. So here it could be that it's dealing with the system which is the remnant of the system of justice, God's former system, and the system of oppression. So why isn't it sent down to those two people, those people who are leading these systems? Well, whoever God sends it down to, God says, would they portion out the mercy of Allah? No, God says He is the one who portions it out. So there is really no excuse to say, well, the person who brought the Quran, there's really nothing to him. So, the mentality is that wal kitabul mubin, the Quran must be seen in that clear form where it clarifies the system of God. This chapter is also unique in it mentions Dhikr al-Rahman. وَمَنْ يَشْءُ أَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّدْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. If anyone withdraws from the vivification of Ar-Rahman, so in other words, bringing Ar-Rahman into your life, we appoint for him a shaitan. And shaitan is an intimate companion with him. And the shaitan hinders him from the path of Allah. And sabili, so this is the sabil, or the path which Allah prescribes. However, they think وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُ مُهْتَدُونَ, that they are guided. أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, that they are guided. So here we can see that we need to keep vivifying Ar-Rahman in our lives. And if we don't do this, Shaitan will be our companion. Shaitan is the force of destruction and rebellion. Then it talks about the Quran as revelation in meaning. That's in verse 44 to 45, which says, وَإِنَّهُ لَذِكْرٌ لَكَ, verily it is a vivification for you, وَلِقَوْمِكَ, and for your people, وَسَوْفَ تُسْأَلُونَ, and soon you will be asked or questioned. So here we can see that the Quran is meant to be applied. And actually the previous verse is also quite relevant. It says, hold fast to what is revealed to you, and you are on the straight way. إِنَّكَ عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Previously in Yasin, it says, Yasin wal Quran al-Hakim, إِنَّكَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. So here, Sirat al-Mustaqim is again brought forward here. Verse 46 onwards, it talks about Musa. Musa is shown as an exemplar of this, the one who vivifies God's systems, brings about Dhikr al-Rahman. And Allah says that we show them sign after sign, each greater than the one before, and we seize them with punishment. So here we can see that Musa is vivifying, he is establishing God's system, but the opposition was growing stronger. Next it talks about the son of Mary. So the son of Mary here, Ibn Maryam, can also be taken to mean one who follows the way of Maryam. He is held up as an example. That's in verse 57. And he is said to be in huwa illa abdun. He is nothing more than a servant. And amna alayhi, we granted him our grace, our blessings. وَجَعَلْنَهُ مَثَلًا لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيل, and we made him an example to the children of Israel. How is this? Well, Isa, or the son of Maryam, the follower of Maryam, he is what helps Bani Israel to achieve its full potential. It becomes prominent in the land. We can see this in chapter 61 verse 14, and it says, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ, and verily he is knowledge of the hour. So فَلَا تَمْتَرُونَ بِهَا, do not have doubt about the hour. وَأَتَّبِعُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ, and follow me, this is the straight path. So here we can see that the personality of Isa is in fact the decisive factor. So who is Isa in this case? Well, we need to look at the previous chapters regarding Isa in order to understand his example. So the end of the chapter is the final point which the messenger is at before he gives up. He says, "Oh my Lord, these are people who will not believe." So he's already tried his best, tried to deliver the message. Unfortunately, it did not work. So Allah says, فَأَصْفَحْ عَنْهُمْ, and turn away from them. وَقُلْ سَلَامٌ, and say peace. So in other words, saying peace is not just meant for Muslims, it's meant for everyone. We say peace, meaning we are not at war with you. فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ, and soon they will know. So there you go. This chapter seems to be about the discussion of as-sa'ah, the hour, and the use of the Quran vis-a-vis as-sa'ah. This chapter also focuses on the attribute of Ar-Rahman. So here we need to analyze where Ar-Rahman appears else in the Quran. I would suggest looking at chapter 19 and chapter 25 as well. Let's move on to chapter 44.